This conference will now be recorded.
So variables in Python. Okay. So whenever okay, so data types intro also I'll try to give you. So whenever I'm talking about a variable is nothing but a placeholder. What is variable? It is nothing but a placeholder, means which will hold the data. Variable means it will hold the data. Okay, so it will hold the data. For example, if I want to store a number, so what I need to do is I need to pick a placeholder. I need to pick a placeholder. So I need to pick a placeholder and store that number. And that placeholder will be used rather than the value, rather than the data value. We will use that placeholder. We'll use that placeholder, or rather than that value directly, we'll use that placeholder. So that is what we observed in the previous program things. Also, we have observed that, right? Okay. Then what is that placeholder called? So that placeholder is called as the variable. The placeholder is called the variable. Okay. So first we will define a variable. A variable is a placeholder. A variable is a placeholder. Placeholder and a memory location. Memory location. A variable is a placeholder and a memory location to store the data values. To store the data values, a variable is a placeholder and a memory location to store the data values. So in order to store the data values, it is important to have a variable. It is important to have a variable. So variable means, sorry, a placeholder and a and both, and a memory location that will store the data value. In Python, we can create the variables using the following syntax. Using the following syntax. Okay. The syntax would be variable name is equal to data value, or I'll say literal, or I'll say literal. So here is equal to is known as an assignment operator. Assignment operator. Okay. So it is known as what? Assignment operator. Assignment operator. So what it does? It assigns the values. It assigns the values. Now, for example, I am holding b1. So like say variable one. So variable one is equal to 59. Is equal to 59. So what is now v1? V1 is a variable. V1 is a variable which is holding a value called 59. It's a memory location. It's a memory location generally in RAM. So generally in RAM. So in RAM you have no RAM. So in that RAM it stores. Why is a RAM? Because it's a temporary memory. So when the program is alive, there is a use of that. If the program is not alive, there is no use of this. Understand the point? So when the program is alive, we are going to look into it. When the program is not alive, we don't want this. Okay. So program నడుస్తున్నంత వరకు ఈ allocation జరుగుతుంది లేకపోతే అవసరం. Yes. Okay. The main advantage of using a variable is the main advantage of using the variable is that we can use and reuse the data values. We can use and reuse the data values, okay, without actually pointing to the data. Without actually pointing to the data. So without actually pointing to the data, we can use the data value literally. Am I crystal clear? So what you're doing at the end of the day, so we are using or reusing. We are using or reusing. Okay. So now for example, so you have created that V1. So make use of V1 in some logic. In some logic. Now for example, V1 plus 100. So V1 plus 100. So what I'm doing now? I'm using that V1. I'm using that V1. Yes or no? Now increase V1 by 20. If I say increase V1 by 20. So I'll say V1 is equal to V1 plus 20. So what you're doing? You are what you're doing, sir, here? You are increasing the value of V1. You're increasing the value of V1. Means you are reusing, okay, reusing V1 or reusing variable V1. Understanding my points or not? So you can reuse the same data value again and again. So here, now tell me, is V1 value variable is changed or the play or the number itself is changed? Is 59 became 79? Are you sure? Understand my question? So V1 is equal to 59 here. I said V1 plus 100. Okay. So V1 plus 100 means what? V1 plus 100 means okay. So what is V1 here? So V1 is 59. So V1 is 59 plus 100 means so printing is 159. 159 is used. Okay, right. Now next one I said V1 is equal to V1 plus 20 means V1 plus 20 means so what is V1? V1 is 59 or 159? 59 only. So 159 is like some value, that's it. So 59 plus 20. What is 59 plus 20? 79. Now V1 is equal to 79. So now who changed? V1 is changed. Always remember that. Variable will change. The nature of the variable is to change. Literal will not change. Okay, so what will not change? Literal will not change. Who will change? Variable will change. Variable varies. Variable means it varies. Always remember that fact. Okay, so never say that the value is changed. The value will never change. The value will be a fixed value. Value will be fixed. So what will be changed? Variable. Okay. So now suppose you go to a doctor. So the doctor in the first year is taking 100 rupees only. So fees is equal to 100. After 5 years you go. Fees is equal to 500. Is the value of 100 changed to 500 or fees changed to 500? Fees. What is fees? Fees is a variable. Fees is a variable. Hope you are understanding my point. So always remember that. So never ever the data will change. So data has no power of changing. Who will change? Variable will change. Understanding? Okay, so that's where you need to look into. Okay, right. So now always variable will change. So now what I can say at the end of the day, a variable will be varied. A variable will be varied. Variable will be varied depending on the situation. Depending on the situation, variable will be always varied. Am I crystal clear? Yes or no? Variable will be always varied. So variable, varied, right? Okay, varied depending on the requirement, depending on the programmer's requirement, programmer's requirements. Always depending on whose requirement? Programmer's requirement. Okay. Now you understood what is a variable? Okay. So let's have a small program for creating all types of variables. All types of variables means what, sir? Different values. Now you know about data, right? So what are the data values? You know, tell me. So you know first numeric data. Okay. So suppose 89. Okay. So under numeric you have three things basically. So you have integer, you have float value, then you have something like complex value 4 minus 2j. Okay, and then you have something like Java. Okay, so which is a string. Yes or no? Which is a string. We call it a string literal. You remember? Okay. So then you have something like true. So then you have something like none. So what are these values? So these are all the values, that data values that we have, literals that we have. Okay. Now what is my point here? My point is I want to store them in variable. So v1. So variable 2, v2. Next v3. So what I said is equal to is used to assign. You assign 89 into v1. You assign 56.24 into v2. You assign 4 minus 2j into v3. Okay. So you assign Java into v4. So you assign understanding. Yes or no? So whatever I'm storing now, I'm storing with the help of equal to. Storing with the help of equal to. Is that clear? Understanding my point? So whatever I am doing here, I am going for uh, the filling of the values into the variable. Variable is a placeholder or a memory location. So memory, it is inside the RAM actually. Memory inside the RAM. So that memory we are going to use. That memory we are going to use. Is that clear? Okay. Now once I run here, so this is spider. Okay, so spider environment. So once you run this visual studio also you can do, but spider I want to just use because I can show you different things. So that is why I use spider generally. Okay, so for convenience of the students. So here what I'm saying that, yeah, so what I'm saying here, v1 v2 v3 up to v6. So what we have created here, so we have created 89 56.24 4 minus 2j Java. Okay, so true and none type object. You remember object I told you, class and object. So this is none type object. This is bool object. This is str object. This is complex object. This is float object. This is int object. Am I crystal clear? Okay, anyhow, we will talk about that later in complete sense. Understanding? Okay. And what are the other things that you are understanding here? So the other things that you're understanding are, so if you remember I told you integer, single valued, float, single valued, complex, single valued, bool, single valued, none type, single valued. But here if you observe str, it is having four values. It is multi-valued, or it is multi-valued. So it has multiple values. How sir Java is only single value? No, no, no. JAVA. So that is why it is looking at four different values. How to look at that and all we will talk about in STR. Okay, in STR class, STR data type we will talk about. Okay. Okay. So types also we need the next topic is going to be types. So what are the different types that are available? Okay. So what are the types that have to be noted down? So all that we will be understanding. Now everyone clear with the variable discussion? What is a variable? Variable is a placeholder or a memory location which is used for storing the data. Placeholder means storing only, no? Which is used for storing the data. So you are storing the data. You are storing the data in a particular variable. In a particular variable. Is that clear? Okay. Now we will talk about the rules for creating the variables. Okay, so rules for creating the variable. Literally speaking, naming. So what kind of names are to be given? What kind of naming things are to be given? So the rules for creating the variable. So what are the different rules that we have to follow as a developer? Okay, so we have to look at that. Okay. First and foremost rule: a variable cannot be started. A variable cannot be started with a digit. With a digit. A variable cannot start with a digit. V1 we said, but we can never say 1V or any digit for that matter. Okay, now for example, if I am saying 1V is equal to 774. So what it says? It says syntax error. What it says? Invalid decimal literal. So what is 1V? 1 should be followed by 0 or something. You said 1V. So I cannot access it. I cannot access it. So that is why it is giving you what? It is giving you syntax error. Understanding? So it is saying invalid syntax or invalid literal name or invalid variable name. Yes or no? Digit cannot be there at any point of time. So it can start with a character. It can start with a character. So it cannot start with a digit. Okay. But a digit can be anywhere else. A digit can be anywhere else. Anywhere else in the sense it can be second, third, fourth. After the digit, any lines, any number of characters you can write, no problem. Now, for example, if I am writing V1 is equal to 47. It's absolutely okay. It's absolutely okay, no problem. Yes, but it cannot be at the beginning. Okay, so at the beginning it cannot be there. Yes, okay. Okay, next. A variable cannot have a variable cannot have any characters other than any special characters. Any special characters other than underscore other than underscore and underscore can be used anywhere, can be used anywhere in the variable naming. Simply speaking, we are talking about the naming. Okay, naming, we are concerned about the naming basically. Okay, what can be used? Underscore can be used. What cannot be used? anything other than underscore. Okay, now for example, if I'm saying v underscore 1 is equal to 10, is it okay? It is absolutely okay. Okay. Now for example, if I'm saying v1 something like at the rate 2 is equal to 58. What it says? It says syntax error. Cannot assign expression. Means it is meant for something other than that. It is meant for something other. You see, it is giving suggestion also. Maybe it is equal to double equal to something. So, but it is not what you are intending. What you are intending. Understood my point? Now, what is okay? I told you. Underscore is okay. Underscore is absolutely okay. No one will say anything because underscore is allowed. Underscore is allowed. Underscore is only allowed. Yes. Okay. Sir, what is the reason that underscore is being allowed? Okay, I'll tell you. The reason is right. A variable cannot have spaces. A variable cannot have what? Spaces. So spaces are also not allowed. Spaces are also not allowed. Now, for example, v space 1 is equal to 23. So what did you say? Why? Yes. So space is not allowed. Space is not allowed. V space. No, it won't. Now, for example, run beer. So run beer. It is not separate. No, it is run beer. Right. So if you are right, if you write ran beer, so the space Aadhaar card also won't accept. No, same thing. Same thing in programming also. No, sir. I want that space to be shown. Then underscore. We understood what is the reason behind using underscore. Some spacing, if you want, means some difference you want to make. Total marks. Okay. So something like points reached. So if you want to differentiate the input, so you can use the underscore. Getting my point? Rainfall in meters. Rainfall underscore in underscore meters. So whenever you want that space to be given, don't give space but give underscore. That is what is the main agenda behind. You can give anywhere. You can give underscore first, last, middle. It doesn't matter at all. Understanding? Okay. Now, so when you are talking about a variable, I told you variable cannot have what? Spaces, but they can have underscores. They can have underscores. So if you want still that spacing to be given, underscores can be taken. Then a a variable is not recommended. A variable is not recommended to be declared with the to be declared with the okay, so the variable is not recommended to be declared with the keywords or any other keywords or any other built-in components, any other built-in component. So you don't go for built-in components. I'll tell you some simple example. So variable is not recommended, so you can do it actually, but it's not recommended. Why? The reason I'll tell you. Now for example, what is a keyword? Keyword is a word which has a predefined meaning. Yes or no? So that is what is a keyword, right? Now, for example, I'll say very easy keyword for you will be Okay. So def. So def is a keyword. So actually def is what? Def is a function. Def is a function. So which will be used for creating the function. Creating the function. Okay. Means the purpose of this def is to create the functions. Yes or no? Okay. Now I'll say pass over here. But now what I did, what is the purpose of def? Purpose of def is to create the functions. Means it is used for some specific purpose. But what you are doing, you are taking out this. Okay, so type, I mean def is equal to 14. So simply you are running this. Okay, okay, sorry. What it is saying? Why? Not recommended, I told you. So, okay. So sometimes what happens is, now for example, so type. So what is type basically? Type will tell you the type, no? Okay. So V1 is equal to 52 rather. Okay. Okay. Type kuda enduku. So we'll go for print. Print V1. Okay. What is the print job? Print job is to print. Print job is to print. Yes or no? What is print job? Print job is to print. Point number one. Now, now what I'll say is, okay, here only I'll write, because job of F is what? Is to create function. Okay, so job of def is to create functions. Now what I'll do here is, hmm, int is equal to 21. Now is there any error given? I told you, not recommended means sometimes it may give you error, sometimes it won't. So print 21. So print, in print I can say 21. Okay. Now try to print. It is giving you some runtime error. It is which error? Runtime error. Runtime error means what? It is not understanding what to do. You only said, hey print, hey print. Generally, what is print for? Print is for printing. But what you said, I will create a variable out of print. Means what you're doing literally, you are changing the property. You are changing the property. Am I clear? You are changing the property. Now, for example, if you change my property to student, will I be able to teach the class? It is as simple as that. So you cannot take away that property. If it is possible, also you cannot take. So now def was not possible. That is why we leave it. Now print possible. Print is possible. But when you are doing that, what will happen? The print property is changing. Means print no longer is used for printing. That is why never use the built-in things, built-in keywords, built-in functions. So never use them. Okay, sometimes it happens generally, but never use them. So if you use, what happens? The property will change. Now print no longer will be able to print the codes, print the values. Am I crystal clear now? Yes. So that's the way you need to look at the things. So why, what error it is coming? It is getting a runtime. So when a error will occur generally, runtime error will occur generally when the system does not understand what to do. If the system is not understanding what to do, what will happen? It will throw a which error? Runtime error. Is that clear? Understood my point here? So what is my point here? Never use the built-in thing for what? Thing for never use the built-in thing for creating the variables. If you do that, what happens? You are changing the property. You are changing the property. Okay, understood? Okay, next. So it is not recommended to use or create the variables with the help of the keywords or any built-in things for that matter. Okay. A variable length is unlimited. A variable length is unlimited, but we can, but we need to keep it concised. We need to keep it how much? Keep it what? Concise. Concise means short and sweet basically. So a variable length is unlimited, but we need to keep it concise. It is recommended. It is recommended to have a variable name. Have a variable name. It is recommended to have a variable name which will convey, which will convey the meaning of the data, meaning of the data. So that is what we were doing. So for salary, we were giving salary is equal to, so for number of hours. Okay, so now for examples I'll say, okay, so for example I'll say here, salary is equal to, okay, so what is this variable? Salary variable. So it is giving you the meaning. Yes or no? Okay. For example, number of hours. Number of hours. Right? So number of hours. Right. Number of hours is equal. No restriction in length basically. No restriction in length. Any length you can keep. So number of hours is equal to like this. Underscore. See the use of underscore. Number of hours. So if I want a little space kind of thing, I can use that. So underscore is not replacing space, I'm saying. So underscore is not replacement for space. Underscore is for conveying the meaning. Okay. Right. So one small note. The note is final suggestion kind of thing. Variable variable must be variable must be, okay. So must be, cannot say must be. So because it is not a rule. It is not a rule. So variable in Python according to PEP. According to PEP. What is PEP, sir? PEP is a standard. PEP will tell you variable should be like this. Okay, so data type should be like this. Okay, so that PEP standard. Okay, I'll show you. So variable in Python according to PEP should be in lower case. Should be in lower case. It is recommended. So that is why every time we'll use lower case one. That is always better. Okay. Sir, what is this PEP, sir? Okay. PEP is a standard. So PEP like ISI and all. Okay. So we will say Python Enhancement Protocol. Okay. So what is PEP? Python Enhancements Proposals, sir. Not protocol, proposals. Python Enhancement Proposals. Okay. So how you can use a variable. Okay. So how you can use the memory and all rules and everything will be there here. Okay. So somewhere down there you will have something like variable rules. I mean, like, it will give you some kind of idea. So how you can have and all. Of course, no need to check it out, but somewhere I will have. that. See indentation, how the indentation should be there. Okay, so it will give you every idea, right? Okay, so here names to avoid. So never use the characters I, lowercase, L, O, uppercase. So something like this, it will tell you. Okay, type variable names. Yeah. Hmm. So type variable names. Okay, so function and variable names. So all this, whatever we have understood now, that will be there here. Okay. So according to PEP. So what is the version, present version PEP going on? PEP 8 actually. PEP 8. Okay, I'll write it there also. Interview they might ask you what is PEP. So PEP is nothing but Python enhancement proposal. Python enhancement proposal. So PEP. Okay, so it will give you the proposals, how what should be followed and all. So what is the full form? Python enhancement proposals according to the industry standard. Okay, so that kind of things basically. Okay, now you got a clear understanding of a variable. Yes. Now the next important thing is, so for the next 3 days we will be talking about this data types in Python. Python is Python. Okay, Python. I should say support. Python supports dynamic data types. Dynamic data types. Already we know the data types actually. So int and all of those are the data types which we have basically. But there are also other things I'll tell you. So Python supports dynamic data types. That is, there is no need for there is no need for declaring the data types in the program. Declaring the data types in the program. So you don't have to declare. Automatically when you put the data into the variable, automatically the data type comes. Okay. So there is no need for declaring the data types in the program. So they are allocated directly when the data is used. When the data is directly when the data is used. So first of all, what is a data type? In order to give a definition of a data type is nothing but what? Nothing but the type of the data value. Type of the data value. Yes or no? Type of the data value. Yes. So type of the data value. Now going back here, so I'll take the same thing. I can reuse it. Now see, basic data types are listed below. The basic data types. So here you can see these are all the data types. These are all the data types. Understanding? Int, float, complex, str, bool, none type. Sir, what sir you are saying dynamic something? Okay. Now let me say, if we write a Java program, in Java program, what you need to do, you need to say int. This is static data types. Int x1 is equal to 5. Means what you are saying literally, hey x1, you can store only integers. But here in Python, you cannot have this particular thing. So suppose if I'm saying x1 is data, so what will be allocated to x1? Int automatically happens. But here you need to give int only. Understood? Static type and dynamic type. Yes or no? So it totally depends on the data. It totally depends on the data. So what data you are giving, that data type will be allocated. What data you are giving, that data type will be allocated. Yes or no? So it totally depends on the literal. Yes. Now 8 will be allocated to what? X1. Okay. Now for example, X1. Okay. Now I have to remove all this because print we have reused, no? So that is why I have to delete this. Otherwise print will not be used anytime. So X1 is equal to, suppose I'm saying 5. Now what I'll say? Type of X1. So what is type of X1, sir? Type of X1 is int. Sir, what is type of 5, sir? Then type of 5 is also int only. Both are same. Understanding? Because 5 you are allocating, no, anyhow. So 5 you are allocating in X1 means int type you are allocating in X1. Is that clear? So this is also int only and this is also int only. Yes? Understanding my point? So that's how you look at the which variables here? Dynamic variables. Dynamic variable. We need to talk about so many other data types also, so which we will not be doing today. So just I told you I'll just give an intro today. So we have given an introduction to data types. So we have lots of discussion. Okay, so a lot of discussion and a lot of things to learn in data types. Okay, so the next 3 days we are going to learn data types only. Once we finish the data types, we will jump into the real programs. Okay, okay, so we'll be. Thank you. Okay.